Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. My name is Marakad Yahweh. My name is Marakad Ban Yahweh Ban Yasharala, and to my left
is Nathaniel. This week's Torah portion will be starting in the book of Exodus.
Khan.
For the first chapter. All right. Exodus goes into the deliverance of Israel out of the land of Egypt after they were placed in bondage after the death of Joseph. Okay. They were placed in bondage so many years after that, and they were made to told hard bondage. And then we'll read about the story of Moses and his prophecy of delivering the nation of Israel. But this week's Torah is called Shemot, which means names. Okay, and it's an introduction into the nation of Yasharala. All right. So, with that being said, the Torah portion will be reading from Exodus, the first chapter, starting from the first verse, all the way over to Exodus, the sixth chapter, and ending on the first verse. The half Torah portion will be reading in Isaiah, the 27th chapter, starting from the sixth verse, going all the way over to Isaiah, the 20th chapter, ending on the 13th verse. Then we'll read in Isaiah, the 29th chapter, verses 22 to 23. And then the Brit Kadash was also referred to the New Testament portion. We'll be reading in Matthew, the second chapter, verses 1 through 12. So with that being said, I'll say Amadium wa upon Jerusalem, let us turn and face towards Jerusalem, towards the east. And we'll open up with Yahweh Shai's prayer found in Matthew, the sixth chapter. Okay, so the Abanawa prayer, are you ready? Okay, let's go.
Abanawa, Shabbat
Shemayim,
Kodash,
Hayah,
Shemka,
Yahweh, Malakutah, Daba'ah,
Baratazaka,
Hayah,
Aisha,
Baratazah, Hayah, Bashemayim, Nathaniel, Lacham,
Kayuwon,
Masalakina, Kabawakina, Kabawakina, Wala'ah,
Tabiyanao,
Benasaiwon,
Abal, Haushai
Marai, Kaya,
Laka, Hamalakwa,
Wala'ah,
Wataparath,
Waralumnium, Aman,
Bashim,
Yahushai,
Mashiach,
Aman.
Khan.
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed
be thy name.
Yahweh,
Thy kingdom come.
Thy
will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Bashem,
Mashiach,
Yahushai, Hamashiach, Amen.
Hallelujah.
Okay, Psalms 84, verse 4, Psalms 144, verse 15, Psalms 145, and Psalms 115, verse 18. I'll read it. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house. They will still be praising thee, Selah. Happy is that people that in such a case. Yea, happy is that people whose Alahaya is Yahweh. I will have told thee my Alahaya, O King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever. Every day will I bless thee, and I will praise thy name forever and ever. Great is Yahweh, and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. One generation shall praise thy works to another, and I shall speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty, and of thy wondrous works. And men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts. I will declare thy greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy Yahweh is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger and great mercy. Yahweh is good to all, and his tender mercies are over all his works. All thy works shall praise thee, O Yahweh, and thy saints shall bless thee. They shall speak of the glory They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom and talk of thy power, to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts, and the glorious majesty of his kingdom. Thy kingdom is the everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. Yahweh upholds all that fall, and raises up all those that be bowed down. Bow down, proselyte.
So everybody that watching should be bowing down right now.
Yahweh beholds all that fall, raises up all those that be bowed down. The eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their meat and thou openest thy hand and satisfies the desire of every living thing. Yahweh is righteous in all his ways and holy in all his works. Yahweh is nigh to all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. He will fulfill the desire of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry and will save them. Yahweh preserves all them that love him, but all the wicked will he destroy. My mouth shall speak the praise of Yahweh, and let all flesh bless his holy name forever and ever. But we will bless Yahweh from this time forth and even forevermore. Bashem.
Bashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Aman.
Aman.
Hallelujah.
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 Bashem.
Bashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Aman.
Aman.
Okay, the first three prayers of the Ramada. Abawah.
Abawah.
Barakatan.
Barakatan.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Allahayinawa.
Allahayinawa.
Allahayah.
Allahayah.
Abawaflanawa.
Abawaflanawa.
Allahayah.
Allahayah.
Abaraham.
Abaraham.
Allah.
Allah.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Yatazakwa.
Yatazakwa.
Wa Allah.
Wa Allah.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Yaikwa.
Yaikwa.
Allah.
Allah.
Shaya.
Shaya.
Allah.
Allah.
Ayawan.
Ayawan.
Gamal.
Gamal.
Kosai Dayam.
Kosai
Barakatan.
Barakatan.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Magan.
Magan.
Abaraham.
Abaraham.
Gabawarwa.
Gabawarwa.
Atan.
Adam.
Atan.
Adam.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Gabor.
Gabor.
La'awalam.
La'awalam.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Makaya.
Makaya.
Matayam.
Matayam.
Mamaya.
Mamaya.
Dawama.
Dawama.
Laka.
Laka.
Malak.
Malak.
Ha'awalam.
Ha'awalam.
Mamaya.
Mamaya.
Wama.
Wama.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Barakatan.
Barakatan.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Makaya.
Makaya.
Matayam.
Matayam.
For the Warhash.
Warhash.
Shem Yahweh.
Shem Yahweh.
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 Atan.
Adan.
Quadayash.
Kodayash.
Washamka.
Washemka.
Quadawash.
Kodawash.
Quadawashim.
Kodawashim.
Bakal.
Bakal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Allah.
Allah.
Makal.
Makal.
Salah.
Salah.
Barakatan.
Barakatan.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Allah.
Allah.
Hakor.
Hakor.
Dawash.
Dawash.
Blessed are you.
Blessed are you.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
The power of our
The
fathers.
power of our fathers.
The power of
The
Abraham.
power of Abraham.
The power of
The
Isaac.
power of
The
Isaac.
power of Yaquah.
And the power of Yahweh.
Almighty power.
Almighty power.
Most high power.
Most high power.
Who bestows
Who
mercy.
bestows mercy.
Blessed are you.
Blessed are you.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Sheila Abraham.
Sheila Abraham.
You are mighty
You
Yahweh.
are mighty Yahweh.
Forever.
Forever.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Who revives the dead.
Who revives the dead.
Who's comparable to you.
Who's comparable to you.
King of eternity.
King of eternity.
Who caused death
Who caused death
and gives
and
life.
gives life.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Who gives life to the dead.
Who gives life to the dead.
You are holy.
You are holy.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
And your name is
And
holy.
your name is holy.
And the Holy
And
Ones
the Holy One
every day
every day
praise you
praise you
forever.
forever.
Blessed are you,
Blessed are you.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
the power who is
The
holy.
power who is holy.
Bashem,
Bashem.
Yahushua,
Yahushua.
Hamashiach,
Hamashiach.
Aman.
Aman.
Okay, Mariam, stand. Okay, we're doing anointing prayer. Set the order.
Zanak, Ashapil, Yashiyah, Zoe, Demi.
Okay. Okay, we're doing an anointing prayer, which is found in Numbers, the 6th chapter. All right, bear with me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Baraka is the anointing prayer. Okay, everybody ready? Okay, here we go. All right. Yabaraka,
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 Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Washamarka,
Washamarka,
Ya'ar Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Panyawa,
Panyawa,
Ayaka,
Ayaka,
Wayakanka,
Wayakanka,
Yasha'a,
Yasha'a,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Panyawa,
Panyawa,
Ayaka,
Ayaka,
Wadashamlaka, Shalom,
Shalom,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Barak,
Barak,
Rapar,
Rapar,
Shamar,
Shamar,
Hazak,
Hazak,
Shop your Gabar.
Zanakaria,
Yeshua.
Marakai,
Nathaniel, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Barak,
Barak,
Rapar,
Rapar,
Shamar,
Shamar,
Hazak,
Kazak. Shop your Gabar.
Zanakaria,
Yeshua.
Marakai,
Nathaniel, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Barak,
Barak,
Rapar,
Shamar,
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 Hazak,
Kazak,
Shop your Gabar.
Zanakaria,
Yeshua.
Marakai,
Nathaniel, Bashem,
Bashem,
Yahushua,
Yahushua,
Hamashiach,
Hamashiach,
Aman.
Aman,
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on. All right, here we go. Oh, come on, come on. All right. Okay. Yahweh bless thee.
Yahweh
Bless,
bless.
bless thee.
Yahweh bless thee.
Yahweh
bless thee.
And keep thee.
And keep thee.
Aman.
Aman.
Yahweh make his face.
Yahweh
make his face
Shine upon thee.
shine upon thee,
And be gracious.
and be gracious
Unto thee.
unto thee.
Aman.
Aman.
Yahweh lift up his countenance.
Yahweh lift up his countenance
Upon thee.
upon
And
thee,
give thee peace.
and give thee peace.
Aman.
Aman.
Bashem.
Bashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahushua.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Aman.
Aman.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bashem.
Bashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahushua.
The water.
The water.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Amafka.
Amafka.
The water.
The water.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Hashabah.
Hashabah.
The water.
The water.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Amafka.
Amafka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Hashabah.
Hashabah.
The water.
The water.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahushua.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Aman.
Aman.
Okay, Psalms 121. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Ayel.
Ayel.
Aharyam.
Aharyam.
Ma'ayan.
Ma'ayan.
Azariah.
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 Ma'ayin.
Ma'ayin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Shemayam.
Shemayam.
Wa'aratazah.
Wa'aratazah.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yathan.
Yathan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Ragalka.
La'ah.
La'ah. Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Shemarka.
Shemarka.
Hana.
Hana.
Ah. La'ah.
La'ah.
Yanawan.
Yanawan.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Yanashan.
Yanashan.
Shawamar.
Shawamar.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shemarka.
Shemarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Tazalka.
Ayel.
Ayel.
Yun.
Yun.
Yum.
Yum.
Yan.
Yun.
Ka.
Ka.
Yadawam.
Yadawam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'ah.
La'ah.
Yarakaka.
Yarakaka.
Wayarakaka.
Wayarakaka.
Ba.
Ba.
Yala. La. Yala.
Yahweh.
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 Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Napashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Yalaraka, Wabaraka, Ma'aitan, Wa'ayel, Iwalam, Bashem, Yahushua, Hamashiach, Aman. Psalms 121, a song of degrees. I will lift up my eyes up unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yahshua shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper, Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Bashem, Yahushua, Hamashiach, Aman. Psalm 92, a song for Shabbat day. It is a good thing to give thanks unto Yahweh and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon the instrument of 10 strings, upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. The Lord Yahweh has made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. Yahweh, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doeth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. Below Yahweh art most high forevermore. Below thy enemies, Yahweh, below thy enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shall thou exalt like a horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. My eye also shall see my desire in my enemies. And my ears shall hear my desire, the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh shall flourish in the courts of Al-Ahiyah. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing to show that Yahweh is upright. He is my rock, and there's no unrighteousness in him. Bashem, Yahushua, Hamashiach, Aman. All right, Yeshua will be seated.
I just want to say something real quick before we get started. When watching our videos and we're going through the Torah, make sure you pay attention to 4 things, right? Morals, civil laws, dietary laws, and ceremonial laws. Always pay attention to these things when you're reading these examples. These brothers and sisters that are in the Torah, the scribes are painting examples of these brothers and sisters doing things right and doing things wrong. You got to pay attention to what are they breaking? What laws are they breaking? What laws are they keeping? All right. What is good? What is bad? What is good you must do that they're doing, and what's bad that you shouldn't do what they're doing. All right. Or your ceremonial laws. Just so you know that your ceremonial laws are dealing with your holy convocations. They're dealing with your relationships with the wives, and the civil's dealing with how you run your household, how you deal with other people through a day-to-day basis, how you deal, how you how you hold yourself, that's dealing with your morals, how upright and honest you are, dealing with other people and how they're coming at you and how upright and honest they are on how to deal with people, you know what I mean? And the people that you deal with are going to be doing most of the same things that you do, especially when it comes to dietary laws. All right, so you want to be like-minded with people that are doing those such things as keeping civil, ceremonial, dietary, and moral laws. You got to keep that in mind. All right, so when we go through these videos and we give you examples, pay attention to these 4 laws: civil, ceremonial, dietary, and morals. All right.
So, this week's rant. Well, we're closing to this pagan holiday New Year's Eve, which is basically a celebration of partying and reveling, dealing with the Roman god Janus, which is the beginning and end of time. He comes in as a baby and leaves as an old man at the end of the year. Alcohol sales will be to the roof for New Year's Eve. There'll be much drunkenness, much reveling, much partying, whoremongering, and violence. Let's not forget violence, and let's not forget busting the cap up in the air for the start of New Year's Eve. They're gonna be shooting everything. At least they did back in the day. The A to the K.
Everybody had to have a gun on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, everybody shot too. Even the kids got to shoot.
Hey, Uncle Tim.
Yeah, everybody shot.
Yeah,
everybody shot. Grandma, everybody.
Still doing it now.
Busting.
Better save them bullets because you're gonna need them.
Yeah.
You better get more bullets.
You better pop some firecrackers.
Right. But I just want to reflect that you can't have a new year in the middle of winter, okay, where everything's dead, okay? It's in the middle of winter. The new year is supposed to occur in the springtime, which is a spring forward and a new beginning of life, okay? That's when the grass start blooming and coming out from the ground. The sun warms up the earth and everything starts circulating and activating according to the warmth of the sun. Okay, in the middle of winter, a lot of animals are dormant or sleeping during the winter. But then that springtime comes, the heat and the flowers bloom and blossom, the bees are pollinating, life is being procreated. Okay, everything goes to that cycle, all right? So we can't have a new year in the middle of winter. And then this is where we get this whole so-called April Fool's Day, because when those that didn't want to partake and go along with the Roman custom and law of the New Year's in the middle of winter, they were called fools when it should have been done in the springtime, which occurs according to the new moon and the solar equinox between the months of March and April. That's when the new year, the month of Abib, that the Bible refers to, all right? And also reflect that when Joseph was going up to Jerusalem to pay his yearly taxes to the Romans, he was taking his wife, who was great with child, Mary, on a donkey in the springtime. He would not be traveling in the middle of winter with a woman that's about to give birth. All right, and the herdsmen were herding their sheep around that same time, which the scriptures refer to. They wouldn't be herding their sheep in the middle of winter. They would be up in the barn houses giving straw and hay to eat during those winter months. All right. The other reflection is we are approaching the year 2019, which marks the 400-year mark of our being in captivity here over in America. From 1619 to 2019 marks the 400 years. That's not to say that we are going to be delivering the year 2019. That only is significant of that time being accomplished, the 400 years, okay? With that being said, we see that the Mosai is escalating the conflicts between nations, okay? You see the conflict in the Middle East is escalating, all right? Despite Trump trying to pull back troops, he might be pulling them back, but he's gonna send them again. He's gonna have to send them again because the Mosai is escalating this battle, which will take place in the Middle East, in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. When you read in Joel, the 3rd chapter, the Valley of Jehoshaphat means the Valley of Decision. All nations, for one reason or another, are being driven and forced to go into the conflict in the Middle East, whether it's for economics, whether it's for religious ideologies, or whether it's for backing their allies, okay? Whatever the case may be, they're being drawn into the Middle East. So you see the stage and the battlefield being set. All players are being drawn into this final conflict, which is what? The Third World War. Okay, you see America and Russia exchanging words. You see America and China are exchanging major words. Okay, and you see China is flexing its muscle around the world. China just took one of the largest port over in Kenya, because Kenya has not paid back their debt from a loan they received from China. Okay, we see China influencing and forcing their colonialism over in Kenya and other parts of Africa. Okay, teaching Chinese. Okay, marrying African women. Okay, and it's the same colonization. It's just a different colonizer doing it. Now it's the Chinese flexing their muscle. All right. All this to do what? Set the stage for the Third World War, which brings me full circle. What do you so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitians, Dominicans, Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, Argentinians, Chileans, Colombians, Brazilians, Uruguayans, and Mexicans? What are you doing? Really, real talk. What are you doing? I'm gonna tell you what a lot of you doing. You're getting ready to party and turn up. That's what you're getting ready to do. Okay, you getting ready for the tax season because you think you're gonna get some stacks and you really gonna turn up. I'm all for you getting the stacks. I'm not hating on that, but you better do something positive with it. That is prepare, okay, or invest. You can prepare, but prepare nonetheless. It says in a time of peace, prepare for war. We're sounding like the boy that cried wolf. I get it, but the wolf is coming. And don't be caught slipping and sleeping. Okay? The stage in America is being set for civil unrest, civil war, and chaos. Okay? At any given time, they can bring in martial law. I don't know when, and they ain't gonna tell you when they're gonna bring it in. They just gonna bring it in.
It's gonna bring it when they feel like it.
Right. It ain't like, hey, we're gonna bring in martial law in about 3 days. Just a heads up. It don't go like that, man. The enemy ain't that silly.
They think he is, though.
They do. They think
it's, man, they really chilling right now.
Oh, they chilling. But it about to be some chin checking. About to be some chin checking, believe me. Most High gonna chin check some chins. Okay, and put that on your chinny chin chin. But y'all gotta get more serious. Y'all gotta get ready. The best way you know how, okay? Ideally, if we had, revenue, you could do X, Y, Z. Well, it never is the case. You gotta make do with what you got. Okay, you gotta wing it. Okay, and that's winging has been our lifestyle.
It really has. It's going on a wing and whatever.
Wing and faith.
Take care of it as it is.
Right, doing the best you can with what little bit you got. Well, you gotta do more. You need to get with those that have a like-minded mentality. Okay, so because there's strength in numbers, but you can't have strength if the numbers are weak or worldly. Okay, you got to have strength with those of a like-mindedness, spirituality. Okay, the same mental focus on preparing themselves and their families. Okay, you're only as strong as your weakest link. If your family's weak, then you're weak. You got to plan these things as best way possible in fellowship with like-minded people, brothers and sisters.
I got the precept.
Okay.
This is Philippians chapter 2, verse 2. Fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. All right, that's going into everybody in your household having the same love for one another. Nobody has different love. Nobody's saying, you know what, I'm gonna follow my mom because I love her more than I love the head of the house, so I'm just gonna find her. Not everybody has the same love going around. Everybody's thinking the same. Your daughter knows the same thing the mama knows. The mama knows the same thing her younger son knows. The head knows everything everybody else knows. Everybody's on one accord, like mind. All right.
So, 2019, things have to turn up, and they will turn up.
Oh, they going. If you don't think things are not going to turn upside down in 2019, you are out of your mind. If they're almost.
Well, we're not in context. We can't sit here and tell you how it's going to turn up, but we know it's going to get more chaotic than what it is. That's the point. Okay, if you thought 2018 was hectic, 2019 is going to be more hectic. Okay, because the scripture said, as a woman travail is about to give birth, the pains become more and more frequent until that birth actually takes place. Well, the birth we talking about is the Most High through Yahushua HaMashiach making his triumphant return and the breaking down of America, which is Babylon. Okay, they shall all turn and hate the great whore that sits upon many waters. That's America. So all these other nations around the world is going to turn and hate the whore, which is America. The only one that's going to be America's back is her big brother, which is England. That's it. Everybody else is going to turn against America. Okay, that's why we have the tariff wars between America and China. That's going to upset the economy here in America. Okay, America's economy is about to implode. Okay, once that happened, goods and services will cost more money than most people can afford. Okay, Sears, Kmart are shutting down. Okay,
Sears, especially.
Right. GM is laying off over 14,000 people. Okay, plus. Okay, that's GM. How's it going to affect the other automakers? Okay, they're going to be affected too. Okay, where's all this money for people to buy these cars coming from? Because people are losing their jobs. Okay, the cost of living is going up. Inflation is out of control. All that by design, because they want to make America a third world country. Despite everything Trump is trying to do, despite all the revitalization of urban centers like he has signed into the executive order, it's a wishful plan, but we don't have 30 and 40 years for it to come into tuition. Okay, fruition. It's not going to happen. Okay, the Most High got his plan, and his plan is to bring judgment upon Babylon, which is America. In the course of that happening, you so-called black people, you so-called Latino people, you got to choose a side. And I hate to say it, most of you are choosing the side of America because you don't want things to end.
Which is the so-called white man. You are choosing him. You are an American citizen. You're not American.
But you choosing Egypt. And then Isaiah the 30th chapter tells us, woe unto them that trust into Egypt. And your trust is in America. You don't think it's going to end. That's the sad commentary. That's why you take what we say as rhetoric, fanatic, foolishness, and every other adjective that you can conjure up. But the truth of the matter is, these are not our words. So mark that. These are the words of the living Creator, which is Yahweh, that made heaven and earth and all life forms upon the earth. So it's his word, and his word is true. Let every man be a liar. Okay, so that's my rant. Try to get it together. Make good use of your tax returns. Give it those that can maximize your tax returns. All right, and let's press forward. Keep your eye on the prize, which is what? The kingdom of heaven.
Come on.
That's the prize. That's what you gotta keep your eye on. Don't get distracted by everything you see happening around you, because that's all it is. It's distractions. Okay, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, everything to distract you. I can't live without my phone. I gotta keep my phone charged. My life is my phone. Look, EMP is going to destroy all that if your phone is connected to the Wi-Fi or any other connectivity.
Get y'all some good walkie-talkies that has a long frequency span on it. Get good walkie-talkies
and a halfway decent range on it.
You'll be able to communicate with each other when that stuff goes out.
Right. That's what you're going to have to understand. All right. And also realize this: if they want to get at you, their connecting point to get at you is in your back pocket or your side pocket. That's your phone, your GPS. They can track you wherever you are. So if you ever got to get off the grid, you gotta leave your phone in one location and come back to it. Okay, that's what you got to do. All right. But if you keep that phone with you, realize you're letting the enemy find you. All right. So I said my rant. So we can press forward with this week's Torah portion, which is Shemot, which means names. We'll be reading in Exodus, the 1st chapter and the 1st verse, and Exodus, the 6th chapter, and to Exodus, the 6th chapter and the 1st verse. The half-Torah portion is in Isaiah, the 27th chapter, starting from the 6th verse, going all the way over to Isaiah, the 28th chapter, ending on verse 13. Then we'll be reading in Isaiah, the 29th chapter, verses 22 to 23. The New Testament portion of Brit Kadash will be reading in Matthew, the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 12. Okay, first reader, are you ready? Okay. Let's stand.
Shapil Gabar, Ban Moro, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasharala.
Amadium. Barak.
Yahweh Shim Yahshai Brakatham.
Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatah. Okay. You'll be reading in Exodus, the 1st chapter, starting from the 1st verse.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly.
So Israel became fruitful and increased abundantly in the land of Goshen, which is a part of Egypt. Okay, and this is the land that Joseph secured for the nation while he was the second in command of Egypt under Pharaoh. Okay, that helped navigate the Egyptians as well as save the Israelites from the famine that came for those 7 years. All right, go ahead. What verse you in?
Verse 7.
All right.
And the children of Israel, verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them.
And that's what they do today. They want to hurry up and get into our neighborhoods, jump into our schools and everything, and put that on there, knowing that this neighborhood right here is in poverty. All right, so they want to put someone and pay for your college tuition for you to have a better life, and they just get real deceiving. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Well, all that leads to gentrification. Is increasing. You can't really stay there, so then you were forced to move out, and now they're really coming into your neighborhood. Okay, that's what's happening throughout all the major metropolitan cities. LA, here in San Diego, over in New York, especially over in Jersey. You're just being forced out. You can't afford to stay there. You know, a 1 bedroom in Brooklyn, of all places, is like $1,500 a month.
And that's what they're talking about. Let's deal wisely with them.
Right, deceitfully, crafty, and cunningly.
Yeah, that manipulated, you know.
All right. So now we got a new king. Joseph done died, and the new king, the new Pharaoh of Egypt is like, yo, we got to check these Israelites now. Okay. All part of the divine plan of the Most High, but nonetheless, this is what's happening now. Go ahead.
He was waiting for that too. He was waiting for that. He saw all the stuff he wanted to do when he come into rulership.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. And so get up out of the land. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burden.
So now they done put them in bondage, put them in slavery, and now they got them working, building. Okay, go ahead. Taskmasters, overseers,
the police. Those are your taskmasters. Those are your overseers. All right.
Right. Make sure you toe the line. Follow their laws. Okay, and then oppress you or apprehend you if you don't. Go ahead.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
So the more they afflicted them, the more they grew and enlarged themselves. Okay, go ahead.
and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter.
So now they're just really putting it on them. You know, workloads increasing, whippings, everything. You know, trying to break them down.
Building a pyramid.
Yeah, that's the cities that the Israelites built for Pharaoh and the pyramids and stuff. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah.
F.O.R, is that right?
Pua.
The name?
Yeah. Shapara and Pua. Shapara and Pua.
All right, go ahead.
And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him.
So, first recorded abortion, okay? This is the order from the Pharaoh to the midwives of the Hebrews, okay? If you see a male son appear before the stool of the woman giving birth, you shall kill it. Okay, go ahead.
But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
So they had more fear and respect for the Most High than they had for Pharaoh. So they didn't obey that commandment. All right, so they allowed the sons of the Hebrew women to live. Okay.
Verse 17. But save the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered, or the midwives come. Therefore God dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And
so basically, they had more faith in the Most High than they led on to be, and they just completely disobeyed the commandment of Pharaoh. All right, so the people increased even more. All right, go ahead.
And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
So they were casting the male sons into the river, and besides drowning, you had crocodiles, okay, serpents, all manner of creatures in the river, so they were eaten alive. Okay, just like down in Florida, those that don't know, our babies were used as gator bait back to the time of slavery in the early years after slavery. Okay, they basically tie a baby by a string by the swamp, and then the alligator would come and try to eat the baby. Whether it chomped on the baby or not, they would get the alligator. All right, so yes, that's true. They did use our babies and our young children as gator bait. Okay, go ahead.
That's in chapter.
Okay, so in chapter 1. All right,
and that goes for Hispanic and Native Indians. They use your babies the same way.
Right,
the
Spaniards
all over the place.
Right, total disregard to life itself. Okay, you're gonna read Exodus, the 2nd chapter. We can close out. Is it charging?
No.
All right.
Call Shara.
Call Shara.
You doing? Just get another one real quick. It's not working on mine. No, keep that there.
You want to put this forward?
to work at. All right. All right, go ahead.
Call Shara,
Call Shara,
Debar Yahweh,
Debar Yahweh,
Naisha,
Naisha,
Wana Shema.
Wana Shemai.
All that Yahweh said,
All that Yahweh said,
what we doing here?
what we doing here? Okay, Exodus 2, go ahead.
Come. Hashapio Gabar, Ban Merle, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yasharala.
Amadium, Barak,
Yahweh Bashim Yahshab Brakatham.
Yahweh Bashim Yahshab Barakatah. Okay, so now we're in Exodus, the 2nd chapter.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a godly child, she hid him 3 months.
So, by divinity, this Levite mother and this Levite father birthed a child, and the mother saw the spirit of the Most High upon the child, meaning a certain aura, a certain vibration, and she hid the child because she didn't want the child to be cast into the river or put to death. So she hid him for 3 months. Okay, go ahead.
And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and dabbed it with slime and with pitch.
So she made a basket basically, so she could put the baby in the basket. Go ahead.
And put the child in, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink.
So she laid it by the near the shore of the river. Okay, not basically letting it go out into the river, but near the river banks. Go ahead.
And his sisters stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And
so
the daughter,
her sister was watching the basket. Go ahead.
And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child. And behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And
so only by divine intervention that happened that way. So Pharaoh's wife saw the basket, okay, saw the child, had compassion upon the child, then asked the sister, who happened to be watching this whole thing take place, get me a nursing mother. And she went and got Moses' original mother to nurse him. Only by the Most High. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter.
That was by divine. She wouldn't found Moses' mom.
And he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
So Moses had a connection to the Hebrews, even though he was living in Pharaoh's house, as supposedly the son to Pharaoh's wife. All right, go ahead.
And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strode together. And he said to him,
go back, because I don't think you read the part where he slew the Hebrew.
Yeah, I did.
Read it again.
All right, come. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
Verse 12.
Come. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
So he thought nobody saw what he did.
Come.
He slew the Egyptian and then buried him. Go ahead.
And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together.
So 2 men of the Hebrews were basically arguing and possibly shoving and fighting. All right, go ahead.
Come. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian?
So, who made you a judge over us? Because apparently Moses being in Pharaoh's house wasn't really looking like a Hebrew. He was kind of looking like an Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? He had on Egyptian clothes. He probably was clean shaven because the Egyptian was clean shaven. I was just about
to say that, clean shaven.
So, you know, they didn't take him as a Hebrew initially. So that's why they made the comment like they made it. So, go ahead. What verse you in?
Verse 14.
Go ahead.
And Moses feared, and surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away.
So the shepherds basically bullying the Midian daughters away from the trough with the water that they drew to water their sheep. So the other shepherds basically came and just bullied them away and just took their work and fed, watered their own sheep. Go ahead.
But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock.
So Moses basically checked them and then in turn helped the Midian women water their flocks. All right, go ahead.
And when they came to Revel, their father, he said, how is it that you are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds.
So, based on how Moses was looking, they took him as the Egyptian also. And this is what they told their father, that the Egyptian helped us water our sheep. All right, go ahead.
And also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the men, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter.
So the Midian father gave Moses his daughter Zipporah, all right, to wife. All right, go ahead. What verse you in?
Verse 22. And she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershon. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage.
So the children of Israel were crying unto the Most High for relief from the bondages they were under the Egyptians. And the Most High started to hear their pleas of crying out for deliverance from this bondage that they were under in Egypt. All right, go ahead.
And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them.
So the Most High remembered the covenant that he made with their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel, as after he wrestled the angel in Genesis, the 36th chapter. And his name was changed to Israel, which means what? He is a prince of power. Yasha Allah. All right, go ahead.
That's the end of the chapter.
End of chapter 2.
Come.
Okay, let's close out chapter 2, and you gonna read. Oh, all right, yeah. The water. Okay. Close out.
Come. Call Shara, Dabar Yahweh, Naishah, Winah Shemai. All that Yahweh said, what we doing here?
Okay, so that's Exodus 2. Now we're going to Exodus the 3rd chapter. All right, registry.
Zanakaria, Ban Marakat, Ban Yehuda, Ban Yasharala,
Madiam, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabrakata,
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Brakatah.
Okay, Exodus the 3rd chapter. All right. So now we're going to see Masha being met by the Most High. All right, go ahead. Call your chapter.
Okay. This is Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush.
So the Most High appeared to Moses out of in a flaming fire that was appearing to be in a bush. So the bush was on fire, but it wasn't being consumed by the fire. Okay, so he saw a flaming bush. So the Most High appeared to him through that flaming fire. Go ahead.
Okay. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw out nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
So the Most High is telling Masha, take off your shoes, because the ground that you're now beginning to walk upon is holy, especially because my presence is on this place now, through this burning bush that's not being consumed by the fire. Go ahead.
Or he said, I am the God of thy father. I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I come down to deliver them out of the hand of Egypt, out of the hand of Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites.
So he's telling Masha that I have found this promised land that I'm going to bring the nation of Israel out of and to, which is the land of Canaan, which is presently being housed by 5 nations of the Africans, which the brother just mentioned. All right, what verse you in?
Verse 9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is coming to me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people and the children of Israel out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of our fathers hath sent me unto you. And they shall say unto me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you.
So in the Hebrew, it would apply that it's saying Ahaya,
It is not a higher.
Right. Brother took the words out of my mouth.
I had to get that out.
Right. Good. I got you. But when he did go back, which we are going to read, I'm just going a little ahead of the brothers reading. When the people ask, well, who sent you? He gonna say he is sent me. Because if he had said I am, it's kind of like applying a single person, first person. Okay, and you in English, that wouldn't be correct. And how can we also prove that? In the Hebrew, it says Yahweh. Okay, he is. And he is appears in the scriptures over 5,000 times. Look it up in your concordance. Okay, how many times does the word Yahweh appear? It's 5,000 times, and the significant point of that reference is that every time you see it appear as Yahweh, the meaning is he is. Okay. Now, when you look at a higher appears less than 5,000 times, and in the course of seeing the word a higher, there are different meanings, not just I am in every place where you see a higher. So that's the major difference between a higher and Yahweh. His name is Yahweh, he is. Okay. All right, what verse you want?
Verse 15.
All right, go ahead.
And God said moreover unto Moses.
And Yahweh said,
go
ahead.
And Yahweh said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, and the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever. This is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, the Lord God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done unto you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt, unto the land of the Canaanites, and unto the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey.
Okay. So he's telling Moses, Masha, that you're going to take these people to this place that I have promised them, flowing with rivers of milk and honey. What else did it say?
Yes, that was milk and honey.
That's it? Yeah. And that doesn't literally mean milk and honey, but when you look at the land produces pollen from the bees, which will make honey that you cultivate, and the land has grazing stock, meaning flat grass, so your cattle can graze upon it, and then you can have milk, okay, from the cows. So it'll give you the ample resources to produce milk and honey. That's what that means. All right, where you at? Is that the end of the chapter?
No.
All right.
Verse 18, and they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come, and the elders of Israel to the king of Egypt, and you shall say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews hath met with us, and now let us go. We beseech thee 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we sacrifice to the Lord our God. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof, and after he will let you go.
So the wonders, that's the Most High's wording, but the wonders are actually the plagues that he's going to put on Egypt for not letting Israel go. And again, that's divine intervention. The Most High wants to show forth his power. So it's the Most High that is hardening the heart of each and every time. Okay? More than 7 times, I believe. But where you at now?
Verse 20. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when you go, you shall not go empty. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor. And
borrow is a nice word for take, confiscate, house, what's the other word? G up. But they gonna leave with great substance from the Egyptians. Whatever ain't nailed down, so you're gonna understand. Okay, every and everything that is of value. This is what they shall leave with out of the land of Egypt. But we're ahead of ourselves. We haven't got to that point yet. All right, go ahead. Where you at?
Verse 22. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor, and of her that sojourneth in her house, jewels of silver, and jewels of gold, and raiment. And ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians.
Spoil, rob the Egyptians. That it?
Okay.
All right, so that's it. Chapter 3.
Okay.
All right, you gonna read. Well, you're gonna read 4. Okay, let's close out 3.
Kal Shara, Debar
Yahweh,
and Naisha, Wenal Shemai. All that Yahweh said. What we doing here?
Okay, that's in Exodus 3. Now we're in Exodus 4. Registry.
Zanakaria, Ban Marakad, Ban Yehuda, Ban Yasharala,
Abadia, Barak,
Yahweh Bashim Yahweh
Shabrakata. Stump. All right, come on. Exodus, the 4th chapter.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 1. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. Which he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thy hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it. And it became a rod in his hand.
So, the Most High had to show Moses that he was rolling with him, and he had the power. How he demonstrated the power is that he told Moses to cast his staff to the ground, which the Most High turned into a serpent, which Masha instinctively ran from the serpent. But then he told him grab it by the tail, and it turned back into a rod. And this is the same example that he demonstrated to the Egyptians and Pharaoh.
Now, what I'm getting is dealing with Masha and his unbelief in saying that these people would not listen to him. He grew up an Egyptian, right? He was an Israelite, but he grew up an Egyptian. So imagine coming from an Egyptian, but he knew he was an Israelite, right?
Yeah,
he knew that he was his people.
Yeah.
But the way he looked at him was in a different way. He had love for him, but he was. I can imagine myself in that situation, being in a higher position than my people, but my people are in bondage, and him looking at his people, seeing that they are hard-headed, and they're not going to believe me, and I can see where some of that unbelief is coming from. With Moses about the people when the Most High is telling them this. So that's why the Most High has to come to him with these miracles, showing them the snake he's thrown on the ground and everything else. Is to install that faith in him. So when he speaks to somebody, it's with the spirit. You can feel the love he's speaking to him with.
But he also has to demonstrate to the Egyptians that he is rolling with the power. And the Egyptians, and which also illustrates another point. Power makes believers. Okay, power changes things. Power has the ability to change things. Okay, power is leverage. Power is authority. Okay, so without the power that you can't demonstrate, it's 50-50 whether people want to believe you or not, because you're not demonstrating anything that they can see that's going to benefit them. Okay, but Moses demonstrating the power they can see is going to benefit them because the power can save them as well as Moses. And that's why it goes with the scripture. Israel requireth a sign. Okay, everybody talking about they know the Most High and know how to get to him, but they can't demonstrate no shape, form, or fashion that the Most High is with them. That's why in the days to come, Hashatan is going to give his magi's and magicians power to make the very believers believe that they're rolling with the Heavenly Father. When they're not rolling with the Heavenly Father, they're rolling with Hashatan. Okay, there's power on the left-hand side. Don't get it twisted. Okay, but it's demonic power, and that power leads to eternal damnation in hell, lake of fire. All right, but for the quest of power, people are willing to sell their soul. But then what does the scripture also say? What profit is for a man or woman to sell their soul to gain the world? Well, lose their soul to gain the world. All right, go ahead. Where you at?
Verse 4.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 5. So, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers.
Start at 4. Start for me.
And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thy hand in thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said,
lepers as snow. Okay, so for that to happen, what color was his hand prior to it being put in his bosom? It would have to be of a darker complexion for it to turn leprous white as snow.
So all that pigmentation that was there before is now gone, and it's lepers, right?
Yeah, lepers white.
So that means it was wasted away. Look up that word, wasted away.
All right. So now he put his hand in his bosom and he took it out. Behold, it was leprous white as snow. Okay, no melanoma and pigment in the skin. Continue.
God. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out. And behold, it was turned into his flesh.
So it was turned back into the color of his other flesh. Okay. So, leprous, white as snow, put his hand back into his bosom for a second time, and turned as his other flesh, dark in complexion. Okay, so Moses was, well, for Moses to pass for Egyptian, we know the Egyptians are originally of dark-skinned people.
People from South Sudan.
Right.
They dark.
Right, so they're black. All right?
Literally.
All right, go ahead.
Blurple.
Well, majority.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Come. It shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to thy voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken to thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land.
So 3 signs to demonstrate that the Most High is with him. This, the staff turning into a snake, and then it turning back into a staff. His hand turning leprous, white as snow, and turning back into his other color of his flesh. And the 3rd sign was him taking water out of with his hand and pouring it onto the ground, and it turning into blood. Okay, so that's 3 signs.
3 signs with 2 different folds.
Right.
Rod turns into a snake. Take it back, turns into a rod. If you didn't believe the first one, he turned it. You don't believe the second one.
But
I'm
that
convinced.
Well, yeah. I mean, he gave him three ways to convince them. Okay, where you at?
Hey, I'm sorry, but if you are a Negro, right, and you just all of a sudden turn leprous right in front of me, and then turn back, and I know I ain't blind, that's a good enough sign for me, bro. Sign me up. So I guess our people just like today are that ignorant. We
you believe CGI? You know,
CGI?
CGI is the special effects machine they use to make all the special effects in the most of the Hollywood movies. Okay, the green screen and all that, and
right.
The different special effects like Dwayne Wayne doing the King Kong movie. That's CGI. Okay. Training the Last Dragon and all that, that's CGI. Okay, well, you believe that imagination. Well, this is vivid, real, live demonstrations of power. Mano y mano, that you see with your own two eyes. Okay, where you at?
Verse 10. And Moses said unto the Lord, Come. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech, and I'm slow of tongue.
So basically, he had a speech impediment. Either he stuttered, or it was difficult for him to really say all his words and be clear in his speech.
It's comprehension.
No, it's not. Comprehension is understanding.
Yeah.
But his pronunciation of his words might have been slurred. He might have had a stutter, or it just wasn't clear when he would speak to people. But the Most High got an answer for that too. Go ahead.
Come. And Moses, verse 11. And the Lord said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf? Or who seeing are ye blind? Have not I the Lord done it?
So the Most High is telling Moses, Masha, that, all right, who made the deaf dumb where they can't speak? And who made the blind so they can't see? Is it not me? So if I can make them this way, I can also change them from this way. All right, but go ahead.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, send I pray thee by the hand of whom thou wilt send. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. When he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people.
So Aaron's going to be made the spokesman from Masha, who's basically going to be speaking to the Most High. So from the Most High to Masha, and then from Masha to Aaron, and Aaron to the people. The order of communication. Not to say that the Masha won't speak to the people himself, but that's why Aaron, who will become the Levitical priest to the Most High, is placed in that position, second in command of the Masha. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said unto Moses, Go in peace. And the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon an ass, and returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand. And the Lord said unto Moses, When thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thy hand. But I will harden his heart, that ye shall not let the people go. Thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I will say unto thee, Let my son go, and he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. And Zephyr took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son, and cast it at his feet, and said, Surely a bloody husband art thou to me. So he let him go. And she said, A bloody husband thou art, because of the circumcision.
So this is the covenant that Masha was ordered by the Most High to make with him, by the circumcision of his foreskin of his loin. And this same covenant all males of the nation of Israel must make with the Most High. At birth, it's supposed to occur on the 8th day. I know a lot of us were circumcised at birth, but we're supposed to circumcise our male sons on the 8th day. Okay. And a lot of our brothers coming into the truth had not been circumcised. Well, this is a procedure. Nowadays, that can be done in the course of a day. It used to be you had to do a little hospital stay back in the day, but pretty much it's an outpatient procedure that can be done almost in one day.
And get it done immediately there, fellas. A lot of things are happening. So get that done, man. Don't
Right. So, you know, now or later, but it will be required by the Most High. Okay, where you at?
Verse 28. And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord who has sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. Come, start at 27. And the Lord said unto him, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him. And he met him in the mountain of God and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spake all the words which the Lord had spoken to Moses. And he did the signs of the sight of the people. And the people believed. And when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, and he had looked upon their afflictions, and they bowed their heads and worshipped.
So that's the end of chapter 4.
Okay.
Okay. So Mashah returns back to Egypt. He meets the people. The people see the aura and spirit of the Most High and bow before him. Okay. So let's close out in 4. You can read Exodus 5 and to Exodus 6, verse 1. Okay. Close out.
Kol Shara, the Bar Yahweh, and Aisha, Wana Shemot. All that Yahweh said, what are we doing here?
Okay, that's Exodus, the 4th chapter, Exodus 5. Registry.
Marakat, Ban Darnell, Ban Yahawah. What? Ban Yashua, Ban Yashua.
Okay, Amadim, Barak.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatam.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Okay, we're in Exodus, the 5th chapter. Okay, now we're seeing the task is going to become more harder for the Israelites now. Okay, go ahead.
This is Exodus chapter 5 and verse 1. And afterwards Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is this? Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go. And they said, God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword.
So now Mashah and Aaron is appearing before Pharaoh, telling him that he needs to let the children of Israel go. So we go in the wilderness and sacrifice unto the Most High. And Pharaoh's like saying, who is this God of Israel? I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 4. And the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works get you unto your burdens. And Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many, and you make them rest from their burdens? And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick. Therefore, let them go and gather straw for themselves.
So in the process of making bricks, you need straw. And the Egyptians were providing the straw so they can make the bricks. Now he just said, well, they're gonna have to get their own straw, and they're gonna have to make their own bricks, and not diminishing quota, but increasing quota. All right, go ahead.
and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick as heretofore. Heretofore, let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the table of the bricks which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish out thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Verse 9. Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get you straw where you can find it, yet not out of your work shall be diminished. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt, to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmasters hastened them, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. So he's telling them, do the same thing that you were doing as you had straw that day. All right, make it hard for them. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and demanded, Wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick, both yesterday and today, as heretofore? Verse 15. Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, Wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servants? So now the taskmasters are saying, man, why are you dealing this way with your servants, man? You know, they're feeling some type of way about treating some people like this that they haven't done that to before. There is no straw given unto thy servants, and they say to us, Make brick, and behold, thy servants are beaten. But the fault is in thine own people. But he said, Ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, Let us go and do sacrifice to the Lord. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet shall ye deliver the tale of bricks. And the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case, after it was said, Ye shall not diminish out of your bricks of your daily tasks. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Egypt. And they said unto them, The Lord look upon you, and judge, because you have made our Savior to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servant, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And basically they're saying that you caused Pharaoh to be this way towards us, since you came over here talking about Yahweh.
So they came at Moses. Okay, not at Pharaoh. Go ahead.
And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Lord, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sinned? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people. Neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. All right, that was the end of 5.
End of 5. Okay, so now the plot thickens. When Pharaoh was asked by Mashah to deliver the people, he denied that and then made him increase in work, made the work even harder by having to get their own straw, and still make this same quota of bricks, which is virtually impossible. Then had their servants beaten for not doing so, and then the servants turned against Mashah, saying, Why you have us going through this because of what you're saying the Most High told you. So now this is where we at. So read, let's close out in 5, and then you just read the first verse in Exodus 6, and that's where we'll pick up next week. Okay. Oh, close. Did you read Exodus 6?
No, let me read Exodus 6 real quick.
And then we'll just close out.
This is Exodus 6 and verse 1. Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land.
So, we'll see.
He's telling Moses, see, this is what I told you, because he told him he was going to make Pharaoh's heart hard.
Right. Okay, so let's close out Exodus 5.
Kal Shara,
Kal Shara,
Dabar Yahweh,
Dabar Yahweh,
Naya Shah,
Naya Shah,
Wanah Shemai.
Shemot.
All that Yahweh said,
All that Yahweh said,
what we doing here.
we'll be doing here.
Okay, so that was the Torah portion. Shabir, you can read Isaiah, Isaiah the 27th chapter, starting from verse 6.
This is Isaiah chapter 27 and verse 6. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit.
Future prophecy. Once we're redeemed out of our captivity here in America, the Most High will give us an increase in both size and nation and family. Okay, go ahead.
Hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate it. Thou wilt debate with it. Salah. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. By this, therefore, shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this all the fruit to take away his sin.
So the iniquity of Jacob shall be purged from him, and then the Most High will redeem and make Israel prosper again. Go ahead.
When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, the groves and images shall not stand up. Yet the defenced city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken, and left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down and consume the branches thereof.
Talking about the destruction of America and our deliverance from it, and what's going to be left of America. Go ahead.
When the bowls thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore, he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel.
So we will be gathered, men, women, and children, from the land of our captivity or wherever we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and be brought to the wilderness to go under the rod of judgment, and then delivered into Israel. All right, go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem.
That was it for 27.
All
right. Read 28 to verse 13.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 1. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with the wine.
So now the Most High is dealing with the corruption of our officials of our nation, whether it be judges, priests, so-called prophets, and so-called rulers. Okay, the judgment back then, and it's going to be the same type of judgment now. Okay, our people in all type of positions of authority, whether police chiefs, judges, court officers, mayors, generals in the army, captains in the army, lieutenants. We have all these so-called positions, but none of these positions are doing anything collectively for our nation. It might be helping the individual person, but as a collective, is it helping our nation?
That's what I'll be telling people. They are individual lights, and people today, when you was talking about those judges and officers, they keep on pointing out there how Yeah, we got African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans up there, but they're individuals. They're
Yeah,
not doing nothing for the nation.
right. They're not doing much, or if not anything, for the nation because they can't. It's not their system. Okay, they were given an authority, but they know that there's a parameter of their authority. They go past that parameter, they'll get suspended, like the black judge that was suspended for pointing out racist bias in court judgments. Here's a black judge pointing out racial bias and racial disparity in judgment in the court system, and he gets suspended without pay. So I don't know what more you need to see.
We're gonna need people looking at that, huh?
I don't know what more you need to see. If a black judge can point out racial disparity and inadequacies within the court system, then nobody can do it.
Huh.
All right, go ahead. Where you at?
Verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which as the tempest of hell and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet, and the glorious beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be a fading flower, and as the hasty fruit before the summer, which when he hath looked upon it, seeth it, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up. In that day shall the Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory, and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, and for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up with wine.
The strong drink is the
Philosophies and stuff.
philosophies, the ideology, the policies, the procedures of what white supremacy runs its corporate and judicial systems of America. Okay, that is the strong wine that they are drunken of. We got to do it this way. We got to follow this procedure. We got to get laws passed. Look, you don't enforce the laws that are already on the books. There's enough laws technically that can right the wrongs that have been committed against our people. They're not willing to enforce those laws, but now you want to make more laws, huh? No, all that is just to keep people believing in something that will never change. That's all that is. It ain't gonna change. It will never change. And once you understand that, what has to change is you. What did Mike say? Change comes from the man in the mirror. That's where it's got to change first. That's you. You got to change. Can't nobody else change for you but you.
Let's start with the man in the mirror.
Right. But if you ain't willing to change, then ain't nothing gonna happen. Who you kidding? What y'all say, game recognized game? Well, you ain't recognized this game yet. Because you ain't changed yet. And when you change, then everything around you has to change.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Oh, okay. We'll let that one go.
Hey, you said it. I had to.
Because there's those that don't know the song, right?
Yeah.
All right. So again, and that goes into the whole sidebar as far as our people that are caught up in the system, trying to make you believe that you can change the system. You can't change a wicked system. The foundation is wickedness. Okay, to the core. All right, you can't change that. The only thing you can do with that is destroy it, and that's what the Most High is going to do. He don't need you because you ain't gonna do nothing. The majority of you. I'm not tripping. I know you ain't gonna do nothing. All I can tell you is get out the way because that tsunami is coming. Put your hands up against the tsunami. See what happens to you. You get bun rush, swept out into the ocean. All right, where you at?
The righteous will flourish in the courts of
Verse 7.
Right.
They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean.
No place clean. no place righteous, no place where equity is being practiced. Okay, no place. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
So who is them that he's going to teach knowledge and understand doctrine? All right. Who is that? That's our people. Go ahead.
Come. Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
Weaned from the milk, drawn from the breast, talking about you got to first start off with milk to get the understanding of the scriptures. Okay, the foundation. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, the foundation is what? The royal basics, which is what? Repentance, obedience, Yahweh Shai, Yasha Allah, the understanding and preparing for these last days. There's also the understanding of the 12 stones, the 12 steps, and also the understanding of the 7 pillars of wisdom and the 7 steps of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay. Not I won't say not necessarily in that order, but the royal basis is your first steps. Okay, you got to repent. You got to change from the old man and old woman to the new man and new woman in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
Kill off that old woman and that old man.
Because the old man and old woman is caught up into what? Babylon. Okay, Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, which is spiritually who and what? Today in 2018, about to be 2019, America, KKK. All right, that's what has to change. Okay. And all the other breakdowns and this breakdown and that breakdown and this algorithm and that algorithm and this past history and this future history. Okay, it has its place. Okay, but that's not going to get you into the kingdom. What's going to get you into the kingdom is repentance and following these commandments, these statutes, these laws, the Torah, keeping the holy convocation as they come up, like today. Okay, which started from last night, from evening to evening. No, it don't start at the beginning of sunlight. A day starts in the evening of one day, going into the evening of the next day. Okay, and that's in Genesis, the 1st chapter. All right, from evening to evening. So what has to start? Your obedience of the Shabbat. It ain't Friday night, I just got paid, let's go out and revel and party. Okay, for those that remember the song. All right. No, Friday night is not party night. Friday night is preparing and going to the weekly Shabbat, recharging your spiritual batteries back to the Most High by doing what? What we did today, which is study the Torah, a portion of the law. Okay, and the schedule that we're on, you'll read the whole law within a year's time and then reset. Okay, and then as we read the law, as convocations come up, according to the new moon, which is the dark moon, okay, not the full moon, but the dark moon. Then we'll read about that convocation on that giving Shabbat, depending what it is, okay. Whether it's the Day of Atonement, whether it's the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Passover, whether it's the Feast of Tabernacles, whether it's Pentecost, okay. This is what we'll read about, okay. And this is the understanding that we have to come to. This is how you recharge, and this is how you get yourself transformed by the renewing of your mind when you read in Romans the 12th chapter and the 2nd verse. Okay, where we at now?
Verse 10.
Go ahead.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
And this is how we put the Bible together with understanding or overstanding, whichever persuasion you choose to follow. This is how you piece together the Old Testament with the New Testament, how you piece it together with the Apocrypha, which sits between the Old and New Testament, how you get the understanding of what a future prophecy that you read in the Old Testament, how it comes to pass in the New Testament, and vice versa, how in the New Testament we read about what was written aforetime. And what was written aforetime, which we read about in the New Testament, is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. He is the law. He is the Torah. He is the beginning. He is the end. Okay, he is the Alpha. He is the Omega. He's the Ah. He is the Tha. Okay. So this is the understanding you have to come to. Is that verse 13?
No.
All right, where you at now?
Verse 11.
All right, go ahead.
For with stammering lips and another tongue.
Stammering lips is what? Another language we shall read about our, which is why we're reading the Bible in English. This is why some of our brothers and sisters read the Bible in Spanish. Why some of our brothers and sisters read the Bible in Portuguese, because in a stammering lip, in another tongue, another language, we will read about ourselves in our past, which is what the Bible represents. Okay, basic instructions before leaving earth. Go ahead.
Will he speak to this people? Verse 12. To whom he said, this is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest. And this is the refreshing, yet they will not hear it.
Right, because a lot of people hear these words, hear these scriptures, but don't understand. Okay, this is why they're still caught up into these pagan customs, such as Witchmas, such as Snakesgiving, such as New Year's Eve, okay, such as party and reveling, okay, such as Sweeties Day, Valentine's Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, okay, Veterans Day, 4th of July, okay. All these pagan holidays have nothing to do with the scriptures. You want to find out about your holy convocations, read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, okay? And we have memorials such as Purim, which is the book of Esther, such as Hanukkah when you read in the book of Maccabees, okay? Such as the Day of Simon, the Day of Nikkor, that you read, which you can read also in the book of the Apocrypha, all right? But you don't know these things because you're not being taught these things in these so-called churches that you go to on the first day of the week, which is tomorrow, all right? And y'all really gonna get caught up. You know, you're gonna have all night service for New Year's Eve, going into so-called New Year. Your New Year's resolutions, which majority of you don't keep, you know.
I never keep them.
I mean, you know, this is the rep time for all so-called gyms. There's membership booms in January. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be packed. Yeah, but you know,
2 more months to be empty.
Right, or 2 months, because then you're gonna get on your little high horse for so-called tax season. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get them stacks back so you can go give it right back to the so-called white man. Okay, like I said in the beginning of the service, you know, you need to prepare, you need to plan wisely, you need to make good use of these little stacks of money that some of you are getting back. Okay, put it to good use. That's all I'm saying. Use wisdom, use knowledge, use understanding. Okay, perilous times are coming. Yeah, we are that boy that's crying wolf, but we know the wolf is coming. And when he comes, you ain't gonna really know, and a lot of you ain't gonna be ready. It ain't gonna be nothing nice. Okay, real talk. It ain't gonna be nothing nice out here. It's gonna be all the way bad. You're gonna have a bad hair day on that day. Okay. All right, go ahead. Where you at?
Verse 13.
Okay.
But the word of the Lord was unto them, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken.
So this is the whole duty of man: fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, and you learn about these commandments by putting together these precepts. This goes into the whole importance of fellowship, that have that a certain understanding, so you can get the steps and understanding how to get back to the Most High. Okay, now I want you to go to Isaiah the 29th chapter, and we're just going to read 2 verses, verses 22 to verse 23, and then you're going to read Matthew the 2nd chapter. Go ahead. Isaiah 29, verse 22 to 23, last portion and the half-Torah portion, the prophets. Okay, call you chapter and verse.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 22. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham, concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale.
So, again, a reiterating of the fact and point that Jacob shall not now be ashamed. He's not now going to be ashamed because he's about to be delivered out of his captivity. That's why he's not. That is why he is not now going to be ashamed. But then it said, neither shall his face wax pale. He shall never lose his melanoma and pigment in his skin. The sons of Jacob are who? The so-called Negroes here in America, which are from the tribe of Judah. Okay, when you read in Jeremiah 14:2, they are black onto the ground. When you read about what we're reading here in Isaiah 29:22-23, neither now shall he wax pale. He'll never lose his melanin pigment in his skin, which we read earlier, how Masha was a dark complected person that could pass for an Egyptian. He was in the house of the Egyptians, in the house of Pharaoh. Okay, and everybody knows, despite how the Edomites want to lie about it, everybody knows that the Egyptians are black people. Okay, they're Africans. Okay, and Moses passed for Egyptian, so he was dark in complexion. All right, and then how we read about Christ himself being a dark-skinned man when you read in the book of Revelation. Okay, how you read, I said Jeremiah 14:2, Jeremiah, I believe, what is it, 8:21, about the complexion of Jeremiah, Job, what is that, 30:30? Okay. And then when you read about Songs of Solomon, 1 and 5.
How about Acts 13:1 when they call them niggers?
Well, yeah, Niger, but Niger, they couldn't pronounce Niger, so they added another G and said nigger. Okay. So there's many scriptures, like we read a couple of them. We mentioned a couple of them that refer to the Israelites as being dark-skinned people. Okay, and that's the fact. Okay. Can't help that. All right, where we at now?
Verse 23.
Go ahead.
But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the God of Israel.
So sanctify meaning make it special, and the special shall be when the sons of Jacob are redeemed out of their captivity here in America and put back into the position of authority. The authority to do what? Execute and mandate the laws as commandments of the Torah upon the planet Earth. The lawgiver shall be Israel. Okay, all nations shall bow down, and Israel shall be the lawgiver. And the law that shall be given on the planet Earth is the Torah. And Yahushua Mashiach shall be that spiritual head of the earth, with King David, King Dawiyah shall be the physical king over Israel. Okay, but he's not over Yahushua. Okay, so that was Isaiah 29, verse 22-23. Prior to that, he read Isaiah 27, starting from the 6th verse, going over to Isaiah 28, verse 13. So the Brit Kadash, which is the New Testament portion, we'll read about Yahushua Mashiach because he is part of the Shabbat. He is of the Torah. He is the Torah, literally. Okay, we'll read in Matthew, the 2nd chapter, verses 1-12.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 2 and verse 1. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem.
Wise men, not three. It said wise men, so that sounds like a company of more than 3 wise men. I don't know where they get 3 from, but that's what the movies kind of want to put out there. Okay, but wise men. Okay, a company of wise men. Why were the wise men coming to Judea? Because they knew of the birth of Yahushua Mashiach, and they were following the star to the place of the birth. And in some understandings, that star is really a chariot that we were following in the heavens to get to where Yahushua will be born. Go ahead.
Saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou Bethlehem in the land of Judea, of Judah, are not the least among the princes of Judah? For out of these shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Verse 7. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child. And when he hath found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. Liar.
Yeah, worship meaning kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was, just like the elder was talking about. It was a chariot that they were following. All right. Because it said when they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the child was. All right. Verse 10. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh.
So they presented gifts to the family of the child who was Yahushua Mashiach. Okay, so he was born in a manger, but he was taken inside of a house, inside of a lodging. Okay, and this is where they came into. Okay, go ahead.
Where you want to read to 14?
No, really 12. You finished?
I'm about to hit it right here.
All right.
Verse 12. And being warned of Yahweh in a dream, and being warned of God in a dream, that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
So, not Yahweh appeared before the wise men in dreams and told them, don't go back and tell Herod where the baby was. So they left from the house and went back to their own countries, wherever that might have been. Okay, so Herod never got word of where the Christ child was. All right, so he couldn't plot his murder. All right, and we'll end on that because that's where the Brit Kadash for this week ends in Matthew, the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 12. Reading about Yahushua Mashiach, his birth, and how the wise men appeared before him bearing gifts. Okay, and protecting the child and didn't go back and tell where the child was at. So with that, we can say Amadium, 1 point with Russell, and let's stand and close out this week's Torah portion.
They was warned by Yahweh in a dream.
And that's how the Most High appears to people in their dreams.
In a dream.
You know, giving them instructions. Okay. Okay, we can stand and face Jerusalem. Okay. It is our duty to praise the Master of all, to ascribe greatness to the author of creation, who has not made us like the nations of the land, who has not made us like the nations of the lands, nor places like the families of the earth, who has not made our portion like theirs, nor our destiny like all their multitudes. For they worship vanity and emptiness and pray to a deity who cannot save. But we bow down. But we bow in worship and thank the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One. Blessed be He who extends the heavens and establishes the earth, whose throne of glory is in the heavens above, and whose power is present in the highest of heights. He is our Elohim, there is no other. Truly He is our King, there is none else. And it's written in the Torah, Ye shall know and take to heart this day that Yahweh is Elohim in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is no other. Bashem. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. Aman. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bashem. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. Aman. Okay. Here we go. Shemai. Yasha'Allah. Alahaya. Alahayim. Yahweh. Akad. Wahaptha. Af Yahweh. Alahayaka. Bakal. Nabaka. Wamakal. Napashka. Wabakal. Ma'aka. Hear, O Israel. Yahweh. Elohim is one. And thou shalt love. Yahweh. Thy Elohim. With all thy heart. With all thy soul. With all thy might. In these words. Which I command thee. This day. Shall be in thy heart. And thou shalt teach them. Diligently. Unto thy children. And shall talk of them. When thou sittest in thy house. When thou walkest by the way. And when thou liest down. And when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them. For a sign. Upon thy hand. And they shall be. As frontlets. Between thy eyes. And thou shalt write them. Upon the posts of thy house. And on thy gates. Bashem. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. Aman. Yahweh. Bashem. Yahweh Shai. The water. Kaya. Amafka. The water. Kaya. Amafka. The water. Kaya. Hashabah. The water. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. The water. Damyan. Aman. Okay, Mariam, stand. Okay, the Ten Commandments. Anya. Alahayika. Asherah. Hawatiza. Athika. Maratiza. Matizayim. Mabaitha. The Ibadam. Yahweh. La'a. Yahaya. Laka. Alahayim. Arkaryim. Alpanya. La'a. The Aisha. Laka. Pasal. Wala'a. The Ibadam. La'a. The Lakwaka. Shem Yahweh. Bashawa. Zakat. Hayawam. Hashabah. Lakodashwa. Kaba. Abaka. Wa La'a. Daratiza. La'a. Dana'a. La'a. Dagana. La'a. Da'ina. Shakur. La'a. Dakamad. Call. Asherah. Lara'ika. Okay, the first greatest commandment. Hear, O Israel. Yahweh. Elohim. Yahweh is one. And thou shalt love. Yahweh. Thy Elohim. With all thy heart. With all thy soul. With all thy might. Okay, the second greatest commandment. Leviticus 19:18. Ra'aika. La'a. Dakwam. Wala'a. Datar. Af. Banya. Ainka. Wahapta. La Ra'aika. Kamawaka. Anya,
Anya,
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Thou shalt not.
Thou shalt not
Avenge. Nor bear. Any grudge. Against the children. Of thy people. But thou. Shalt love. Thy neighbor. As thyself. I am Yahweh. Thou Elohim. Bashem. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. Aman. Okay. Somebody get Exodus 22 to 18.
This is Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery,
Thou shalt not murder.
thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Bashem. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. Aman. Okay, Zarkar 1, Asha'ah, Memorial of the Women. Now when Yahweh Shai was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, for what purpose is this waste? For this ointment had been sold for 300 pence, 1 year's wages, and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For it is worth a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but but me ye not have always. For in that she has poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman has done, be told for memorial of her. Bashem. Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach. Aman. Okay. Sisters, be seated. Oh. Okay. All right. Madim. Barak. Yahweh Bashem Yashab Rakatah.
Yahweh Bashem Yashab Rakatah.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Hallelujah.
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 Okay, so that concludes this week's Torah portion. All right. So, hope you got something from it. Keep the faith, stay diligent, and prepare for these last days, which is upon us. Okay. I don't want to sound redundant, but we're approaching the 400-year mark, 1619 to 2019. Not to say that the Most High is coming back through Yahushua this year, but things will increase in intensity and severity and frequency. All right, things are happening around the world. Stay up on Jason A's videos. He posts a lot of videos about what's happening around the world. Stay up on current events and get into a fellowship if you're not already in one with like-minded believers. So I say Kwam Yasha'Allah and keep your Shabbat if you're still in it.
And I want to also say to remember, when dealing with these videos and dealing with the examples they give us, always pay attention to the ceremonial, whether they're keeping the holy convocations and everything. Always pay attention to the morals, all right, of the people that they're keeping, making sure they're upright and they're honest and they're telling the truth, all right? Always pay attention to the civil, how they treat each other and how they're being treated. All right. And also pay attention to the dietary within the examples to see if they're all keeping righteously the dietary laws that they're supposed to be keeping. All right. Always pay attention to these 4 basic things, man. Civil, moral, dietary, and civil, moral, dietary, and ceremonial. All right. Pay attention to all 4 of those. All right. And with that, I say, Kwame Yasharala, call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Mashiach, Yahushua. All right.